As you know, the SEC is just as bad at manipulating the market as any other VC douchebag. We're going to go over that. We're going to go over the BTC Bitcoin chart. It looks like almost every other chart out there, ETH, whatever, because it affected the entire market, what the SEC said. We're also going to go over what Coinbase has done. 30 days prior to what was due, they actually filed a motion against the SEC. And what is really Ripple all about? Why are they affecting not just only the messaging system and our financial system, but they're also affecting the cross-border payment side? We're going to hear from Brad Garlinghouse on that. All today on OG Crypto and NFTs. Welcome, everyone. My name is Troy, and every day we go over the latest news in Bitcoin. Today is Bitcoin, but we're going over NFTs, non-fungible tokens, cryptocurrencies, as well as blockchain technology. Now, before we jump into it, do me a favor, hit that like button. Let's get as many likes as we possibly can. I'm going to give you the best 5 minutes of the relevant news out there. We're going to take all the fluff and we're going to chuck it out the back window and we're going to just give you the best. All right, so this morning, very early in the morning, we keep seeing all these companies come in and say they want a spot EFT. What does that mean? It means literally trading Bitcoin on their marketplace or on their exchange. They're using Bitcoin. If we look at futures Bitcoin trading, it just trades paper. We've had this conversation multiple times on this channel and at my real estate channel. When you look at gold, there's a price for physical gold and physical silver, and then there's a paper value for gold and silver. And it's just not the same, even though a lot of traders like it to be the same. You're not going to manipulate a physical gold or physical silver, but you're going to manipulate, like we saw on multiple occasions, Chase, JP Morgan manipulate gold and silver futures because they're not trading the real asset itself. So SEC says spot Bitcoin ETF filings are inadequate. Well, there's several ways of doing this, and I know that already. I believe one of them, Fidelity, has already readjusted their filing. But there's a difference between telling somebody in a communication via company to government, or you just tell the general public this is what's going to happen, right? And so I think that it says regulator tells NASDAQ, CBOE, that applications from BlackRock, Fidelity, and others aren't clear and comprehensive. Why are you telling these people that? I get that they want to put this on the NASDAQ, but you haven't even began to get an approval for it. So you're just out there manipulating the market. This is just another way. So then I say to myself, which you all should be questioning, every time we see Bitcoin go up or down, there's some type of manipulation going on. When you talk about a limited supply and then you cut that down on the amount of Bitcoin on exchanges, which then you might be 10% of 10 or 6 or 5 or of total supply, then it's so easy to manipulate the price. And that's exactly what's going on here. I don't go scold someone out in the general public if their application isn't complete. What we do is we have a conversation one-on-one, but this is a manipulation. So then the question, again, I'm begging the question, how many people at the SEC knew in advance? How many of the people in the SEC or their friends or their family or the VCs that are all connected, or Prometheum that got a spot, issued a license out of complete silence? No one even knew about it. Okay. How do we know that they just didn't short the market at this moment? That's why manipulation of the market falls right back on the regulator. He is the worst of the worst at this. All right, so let's go look at it. This is what happened this morning. Boom. You saw that drop. I mean, it literally was cruising around 31,000. We saw a lot of Bitcoin people happy. I mean, we're coming up to 31,200, and that's when we just saw it go sideways for a few hours. And here's Gary Gensler's boys talking about it's inadequate, and then we saw this 4% drop all the way down, bounced off the bottom. So basically, it bounced under 30 to about 3,300. And if you look at it, just going across here, we're just slightly above it right now, ranged back and forth. But everyone, after they thought about it, they had an analysis. They thought, hey, this could be positive, meaning that we're being warned out loud what needs to be done. So that's why you saw it shoot up. And now we floated back down, and now we're back in the same range that we've been in now for about a week. So it's just sitting right above $30,000. We don't know what really is going to happen. I don't know if this was just a way to make money because they weren't making money, the big wigs. I don't know. All I know is, again, it's full market manipulation, and there it is, sitting there on TradingView. All right, let's jump into Coinbase. So Coinbase seeks dismissal of SEC suit, claims extraordinary abuse of process. This is very interesting. If you really think about it, we all know that BlackRock wants to use Coinbase to custody its crypto. So if that's a fact, and now we're hearing Fidelity is now, when they turned around and they filed for the ETF, they said Coinbase would do the same. So I know it's not financial advice, but does Coinbase make sense buying right now? I mean, if you're thinking that the market's going to dump, and a lot of people do think that we're going in a heavy recession coming in the fall or even at the end of summer. If that's a fact, well, it isn't the time to buy unless you feel that the ETF is going to get absolutely approved. Now, I personally think that the way you find out if the hierarchy feels that, or insiders feel that it's going to happen, then we're going to see the price of Coinbase go up. It is traded on the stock market, so watch it closely. And this is, again, not financial advice, but you got to think that people will pick it up, especially if they're going to custody, absolutely, hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars in crypto assets. And on some of those, they're making staking dollars from it, making money from it, from holding it. And custodying it, they're making fees off that as well. So this begs that the future of Coinbase is brighter than ever. I don't know if this is just like the Ripple case. People are talking it being just a facade case that was made up. So at the very end, Ripple can come out of it being the only asset that actually is a commodity, or at least deemed by a court a commodity. Is Coinbase in that same boat? If you look at Coinbase's arguments, they're arguing almost the same thing, or mirroring Ripple right now. And what Ripple's arguments, because Ripple's been beating up the SEC in court. So very interesting information here, but we're going to find out. Coinbase had up to August 7th to actually submit this, and they did it 40 days earlier. They're not messing around. They're done with the SEC on this. They want the SEC they want the judge to make a decision on, this abuse of power from the SEC. Now, I'll spend another minute on this. If you go back to a Supreme Court decision, and I believe it was EPA versus Virginia, the Supreme Court said that the EPA has guidelines that were given to them by Congress, and that their guidelines going outside of that was unconstitutional, and they had to rein it back in. So they couldn't go after ESG when ESG has not been addressed by Congress. So they had to rein it back in. Well, that argument again was used on today's Supreme Court, when they went over the student loan debt. Well, I think that sooner or later, this is also going to be, again, another Supreme Court decision. If the SEC is, again, using a 80-year-old rules and saying it applies to something that was never even thought of, that, of today. So they might be stepping outside of their boundaries, and that's why Coinbase is just they're full court pressing the SEC to get them to lose. And if they do, if one of these cases go bad for the SEC, everyone's going to get in line behind that company or that winner, and they're going to just knock the SEC down one case at a time. All right, so let's jump into this. We've had this conversation multiple times. What makes Ripple special than anybody else? Well, this is Brad Garlinghouse going over cross-border payments as well as the messaging system, ISO 20022. Let's go listen. I know this is a little bit old, guys. 24 seconds, fantastic information.
Messages to banks that have liquidity. So to some degree, Citibank and HSBC, really the top two, JPM, those are the top three liquidity banks. And when you're sending SWIFT messages, you're sending messages to banks to release liquidity and making sure the debits and credits match. So to some degree, really boil it down, Ripple's competing with the liquidity of Citi and the messaging of SWIFT, but in one, because we're both messaging and liquidity messages.
That is crazy to think about. So right now, what we do is we run into poor messaging. In fact, right now, SWIFT has a 6% success rate. So 4% transactions fail. We also know that they've been hacked on multiple occasions, SWIFT has, and money has been rediverted into scammers' accounts. So that isn't good. Then we look at, like Brad was saying, intermediate cross-border companies such as JP Morgan and Citi. So when you go into a bank like Bank of America and you want to send money to Mexico, well, or even MoneyGram to El Salvador, what you do is you have this intermediate banks that they are pushing the money through to the final destination. And they all have their grabbing hands in there, grabbing your money for that. What Ripple's doing is they're saying we're point to point with less than pennies on just penny or less than a penny to do that. So we don't need intermediate banks. We don't even need you to have separate currencies. We just need to have rails on both American soil and on Mexican soil or El Salvador, their soil. And it's instant. It's within 3 to 5 seconds, and it's just pennies. And in 10 years, we've never seen it being broken down or hacked. As we continue to see Ethereum or Solana or other chains continually hacked or down altogether. This is very, very good. Guys, give Cowboy Crypto a follow right there. He's fantastic. If you are in the XRP army, you already are following this guy. He's fantastic. All right, so let's jump into NFTs. Let's bring on Emi, our producer. Emi, how you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
I am doing fantastic. We have this girl's eyes closed because she's just looking at her OpenSea Ethereum NFT collection, and she doesn't want to look.
Yeah, she saw it and she went, so we're going to talk about Lacoste today. Lacoste expands its NFT ecosystem with new rewards. So this is really cool to me. They're focused on creating sessions, contests, video games, and interactive conversations. And this is, I'm not sure how you're supposed to say this, UNDW3 community. And they released a collection of 11,212 PFP NFTs in June, and they're offering Genesis passes to its community as the retailer teased plans for Web3 expansion. The community was able to access limited edition merchandise and IRL community events. So these minted for about 0.08 ETH for about $95 at the time. In September, crocodile-themed PFPs were airdropped to the holders, and Lacoste teased at the time that the NFTs would be part of an experimental, interactive, and co-creative universe. So what really makes this special and interesting to me is they're incentivizing the users to spend more time in the ecosystem because there is a spot leaderboard, and the more time you spend in the ecosystem, the more points you get, which adds more rarity to your NFTs.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
It seems like they really know their customer and the user that would be on this platform, and they're really incentivizing them to do more in that space, which is absolutely brilliant. I almost think of it as like the way Starbucks started using the app where you upload money. So they're almost like a bank in a way. They it's that saying of you either sell a product long enough to die or you live long enough to enter like financial services. so yeah, this is almost kind of how I see that. And to be honest with you, I think Lacoste does need some sort of revival like this.
Yes, they do.
Because it's like not everybody is just a preppy tennis player who wants to spend $200 on a polo shirt.
Right.
So I think this is really fascinating, and they're doing a lot more than the other luxury brands to make their ecosystem as much as it can be for the user.
That's fantastic. I mean, again, every day we just see somebody else jumping into this, putting their time and effort, and we're still, penetration is what, 2 or 3% of the total population in the world, and it just really kind of begs to feel that we're just going to see it a baby step forward on the NFT front, going forward more and more and more. Even though we're in a bear market, especially for NFTs,
Yeah, definitely. I think the more utility has, the more these like non-Web3 believers are going to start FOMOing in and actually understanding how this stuff all works. If your coin or your NFT has no utility, you're going to go the way of the dinosaur.
Yeah. I think utility is the number one thing.
Yeah.
You know, to get a cute picture. I mean, think about it. For a guy and for me, I get a cute picture of a girl. Well, how often do I care about it? How often do I want to look at it? Sooner or later, it goes in the back of my wallet and I forget about it. And then everyone else does the same exact thing. You know that a community, I'll just talk about this for a quick second. A community that me and Emi are in is Killer Girlfriend. And so what gets me excited about Killer Girlfriend is that not only do they have special limited edition Killer Girlfriend art
Stamps.
they sell every month, they auction off, but they also send you a piece of art to the community every single month, airdrop it. Now they're on Ethereum. So when they airdrop it, there's no cost. I'm in other communities that do have free monthly NFT rewards. I gotta pay $12 to get a free NFT on Ethereum. Makes no sense. I've begged them to go airdrop it or to change the chain, but right now they're unfortunately their community just doesn't want to pay for it. And the other thing is, again, if I have to pay $12, well, guess what? Their NFT collection now is floated to $12 to buy them. And so why would I buy a piece of art for $12 and then pay $12 in gas?
100% markup on the gas fees. Yeah. So I was going the same direction, to be honest with you. Like, if it doesn't have some sort of utility, there needs to be the type of art with some sort of reward that you're going to want to keep.
Right.
Because like the only two, obviously, that I hold are the Putin one.
Yes.
Putin's Tears and the
by what girls are those?
Pussy Riot.
Pussy Riot.
Pussy Riot. And then Killer Girlfriend. I love the art on both.
Yes.
If I were to print those out and hang them in my home, I would love it forever.
Right,
you know
right.
what I mean? So if there's something that you absolutely love that doesn't have a utility and you decide to, go in on that, okay, you love it, it makes sense. It's possibly like buying a Lacoste shirt. You know, same. So
but 10 Tezos is
nothing.
Nothing.
Still.
yeah. So, well, guys, thank you very much for joining us today. I know it's going to be a holiday coming up on Tuesday. We'll probably be back next Wednesday. You guys take care and have a happy and safe 4th. God bless America.
Bye.